Welcome back. In the last video, this was the fit for the ship that I received as a gift. The ship came fitted, and I asked for advice on the fit because, as you can see, I could not load all three guns. And I want to thank everyone for their feedback because I now see where this is an inefficient fit, particularly for my skill level. So I messed around in Eve HQ for a while, and let's look at what I came up with. Now, you can see the difference between the two. This is a stable fit. I can load everything. One very good piece of advice that I had, that I was given, was to decide what I want to do with the ship and then fit the ship appropriately for that goal. My goal for this is high DPS. So I loaded the highest guns that I could load, which are the 150s. And to help maximize my DPS, the gyro stabilizers in the low slots. So that brought my DPS up to 77, almost 78. I'm pleased with that. Let's see. I went with a micro warp drive because the ship has a bonus for it. So why not use it? The medium shield extender, I usually use shields, so that maximizes my shields. The warp scrambler and the webifier are to help make my target easier to hit by prohibiting their movement. Damage control is, honestly, I feel naked without it. And the alpha reactor and the small processor overclock are mods that I needed to increase my CPU and power grid so that I could load everything. My targeting range is nice. I still have a decent amount of speed. The speed in the other one, I think, is slightly faster. But then again, remember, I didn't have everything loaded. And if I'm reading this properly, my tank ability is the amount of the maximum amount of DPS I can receive before things get serious. So, this is not the most optimal fit because my skill level is not the most. One thing that I learned here is that I need to upgrade some skills, and I will be revisiting this fit. One thing that I will be doing is upgrading the guns. I may also, with the upgraded skills, not need the stabilizers, the gyro stabilizers anymore. And I may not need the mods for the CPU and the power grid. So those might go. Another area that may go, I have to play around with this, is instead of prohibiting my target's movement, maybe I want to prohibit them from stopping my movement. So that'll be another area that I'll be playing around with. But right now, and please do feel free to give suggestions on how to update this one, but I think this one is an improvement over the last one because this one I have a goal. The way I see it, if they warp scramble me, I'm dead anyway, basically. So does this work in Sissy? Let's see. It does. One thing that I mentioned in the other video was that when I was using like EFT in the Eve HQ, I would get different numbers. And you can see here that everything is the same. That I would get different numbers than I did in the third-party tool versus the game. This was pretty accurate. As you can see, my DPS is the same. My defense is different because Eve takes the worst case scenario, and I guess the third-party tools takes a more realistic scenario. And in Eve HQ, you can actually adjust that based on what you think you'll be fighting. But the differences aren't so much anymore where I'm just cluster, you know, just mind blown that of not understanding. Now, one of the things that I was doing, as you can see here, the CPU and the power grid is at the bottom in a little corner in a little thing. And one of the reasons why I was calling capacitor, I know that the capacitor is that little round thing inside of this donut. I know that. But when you look in the fitting window, it makes it seem like the power grid and the CPU are so insignificant because they're just little numbers at the bottom of the screen. In Eve HQ, it put it up in my face along with the capacitor so that I knew that those things were things that I needed, that they were important as far as fitting the ship and what I can do and the limitations that I had to work within. So I definitely like that. Definitely like that. As you can see here, I still seem to have some speed. Like I said, the speed is slightly reduced from the other fit, but then again, like I said, I could not load all of the mods, all the guns. All the guns shouldn't slow down my speed though. But as far as the cloak is concerned, I see that putting a cloak on this ship is not the best thing to do, particularly because of the resources that it takes. The truth is if my goal is PvP, then I need, or DPS, then I need to maximize that. And like I said, if I am warp scrambled or webbed, particularly by multiple, people, I'm gone anyway. So the best thing to do is to focus on a goal, and if I want to do more support, then I need to fit a ship for that. You see what I'm saying? So please give me feedback. Thank you so much for your help with this, and I'll see you in the next one.